Muslims in America are pissed after government bans burkas then forces them all to do one thing. You do not have to be a genius to understand that when there is an influx of Muslims there will be a rise in criminal activities. Once you let these bottom dwellers into our Western culture they hardly assimilate to their new digs. Instead of these refugees being the picture of a good citizen, there is typically an uptick in child rape, genital mutilation, and terrorist attacks. While the rest of us know that is true, there is a bleeding heart liberal reading this right now that is screaming otherwise. So, let me prove my point on the matter. The once idyllic country of Sweden has been under attack by Muslim migrants for some time now. For months, there have been terrible acts of violence by these vermin with little consequences for those responsible. A perfect example of this would be the recent Facebook live raper not deported even after their convictions. And, now Sweden is reporting an additional 8 more no-go zones to their already growing list. RT is reporting that there is now a total of 23 no-go zones that include Burkas, Gothenburg, Landskrona, Malmö, Stockholm, and Uppsala. Which explains why we conservatives are taking this Muslim refugee crisis so seriously. You see, Muslims do not want to assimilate to the Western world, but rather force everyone to bow to them. So, when Muslims found out that one government was going to force them to do just that they became livid. There are many countries around the world that are allowing Muslim customs to creep into their society. We have seen that happen in Sweden, England, Germany, and Austria just to name a few. These progressive fools believe that if they allow these Muslims to continue their archaic ways they will leave everyone alone. Yeah, that isn't happening. One of those customs is for Muslim women to wear a burqa that covers their entire face and body. While this may be normal in the Middle East, it isn't when you live in the civilized world. So, the country of Austria has decided to ban the burqa, and that is not all. The Austrian government has passed a law that bans people from covering their faces. Also, this law requires these refugees to take Austrian integration classes, including German language, culture, and customs. Here is more from RT. A controversial integration law that will fine women for wearing face-concealing Islamic dress from October, and deprive of benefits migrants who fail to take language lessons has officially been enacted, after being rubber-stamped by the president. Those who are not prepared to accept Enlightenment values will have to leave our country and society, reads the text of the law that drew thousands of protesters to the streets earlier this year, before it was passed by a centrist coalition last month. Women who will wear Islamic veils, either the burqa or the niqab, in public places, will face a fine of €150, $168. More generally, newcomers who expect to stay in Austria will need to enroll in a 12-month integration course, which includes German language lessons, if they are to receive their welfare benefits. They will also be expressly forbidden from distributing incendiary radical materials, and are encouraged to volunteer before they can get their work permits, so that they are better prepared for life in the workplace. More than 90,000 people have arrived in the Central European country since the start of the migrant crisis in 2015, most of them from Muslim-majority countries outside of Europe. The law was opposed by the left-leaning Green Party, which said that it scapegoated refugees, and the Nationalist Freedom Party, which called it a window dressing for deeper integration issues and said it had been designed to stop its rise in the polls. The centrist coalition promised that the legislation would offer a holistic approach. It has since collapsed, triggering an early election in October. Work is one of the most important factors for successful integration, which is why we are not only breaking down language barriers with this policy, we are also creating a continuous integration concept for the first time, said Social Democratic politician Alois Stoger back in May. France was the first EU state to introduce a similar ban in 2010, levying an identical €150 fine. It has since been copied in other countries, including Germany, which has also pushed through a prohibition of face coverings for state employees. So, the long and short of it is this.